70 years in which we've written many stories, and in which you could say we've finally grown up. But when we return to Le Mans, we know our hearts haven't aged a single day.
Welcome to Le Mans, the biggest race on earth. The Le Mans 24 Hours for 2018 is about to get underway, and we are go!
Because here is the toughest GT race of all time. Here, our heart races.
Bachelor, side by side. Sorry, Hugh, it's a bit exciting.
Here, we give it our best. And here, we go even further.
Round the outside. He's done it.
Sometimes too far. So once the sun rises at the race we so adore, and we've mastered the night with perfect precision, we know why we once lost our heart here.
He's so close. Now.
Le Mans keeps us young.
He's going to be really late on the race.
Le Mans keeps us wild.
There he goes again.
Le Mans lets us fight. And Le Mans makes us free. But of all the lines we've crossed in 70 years, only one truly matters right now. This finish line. This is our moment of a lifetime. And another chapter written in Porsche history.
What a moment, historical, highly emotional. And so was the previous year, 2018, as a whole. As you all know, 2018 was characterized by the one major anniversary, 70 years of Porsche sports cars. We celebrated this milestone at events across the globe, with special exhibitions in Berlin, Los Angeles and Stuttgart, with a festive ceremony here in our museum, with the first sound night staged in the Porsche Arena in Stuttgart with more than 4,000 visitors, and many more events, books and publications. Always at center stage was the Porsche 356 #1 Roadster, which received its road registration in 1948. For its 17th birthday, we sent it on a trip around the world and presented it at various locations from Berlin to Shanghai. The crowning end to this spectacular year was the launch of the new 911 with its massive fan community. In November, 2.4 million followed our live stream in Los Angeles. Today, you are joining us from all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to our 2019 annual press conference. Thank you for coming. I extend a special welcome to our international guests. We are delighted to have many journalists here today who have joined us from China, Japan, the US, Switzerland, Austria, France, Spain, Italy and the UK. not forgetting our guests from Turkey, Poland and the Czech Republic. The conference will be held in German, but our interpreters will also be translating into 6 languages: English, French, Spanish, Italian, Chinese and Japanese. So, could I ask you to switch on your headsets if you need them and select your language. Kurz zum Ablauf. Oliver Blume, Vorstandsvorsitzender der Porsche.
Now I'll give you some housekeeping remarks. Oliver Blume, the CEO of Porsche AG, will give you an introduction and an overview of the major events and key figures of fiscal 2018. Lutz Meschke, the CFO and Deputy CEO, will then present the figures in detail. He will explain to you how Porsche is setting itself up in an economically stable manner in times of transformation. Furthermore, he will speak about our digital strategy, new digital products, and new mobility concepts, which are also gaining increasing interest and significance for Porsche. The same applies to e-mobility, that Oliver Blume will touch upon in more detail in the second part of his presentation. He will speak about how Porsche is assuming its reliability both economically, environmentally and socially. Thereafter, you will be able to ask your questions, and Oliver Blume and Lutz Meschke will also be available for photographs and one-on-ones. The same applies to the rest of our executive board, all of whom are here present today. Thank you so much that you're supporting us. That gives you a rundown on our annual press conference. Now, I would like you to please switch your cell phones on flight mode if you haven't done that already. And before we really get going, you can relax a little bit. We will take you on a brief trip to California to the members of the Porsche Club USA. They all share one special passion, and that's their love for the 911. Enjoy.
California Dreaming, das Porsche-Jahr 2018.
California Dreaming, that was the year of 2018. It was the year of the new 911, which we presented in November in Los Angeles. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Also, from my side, we're very happy that you were all here today and that so many of you have come. I think we have prepared quite a good program. And apart from the facts and figures for the financial year of 2018, we also want to shed some light behind of what's happening at Porsche, how we work at Porsche and what we stand for. The 911 has always met the zeitgeist without ever going out of fashion, and this is exactly what you can see in the movie. No matter which generation, our icon remains timelessly beautiful. We call it our timeless machine. The new 911 is not just more powerful and more comfortable than the predecessor, it also has a lot of digital functions, and it is the first vehicle with a Porsche wet mode. Acoustic sensors see a wet underground and warn the driver for aquaplaning. We've also further developed the design of the 911, the interior as well as the exterior, so we link up traditions as well as modern technologies. The display instruments, here the 911s of the 1970s were the inspiration. Then the dashboard goes over the whole width between two horizontal wing levels. The center screen has grown to 10.9 inch. But the rev counter is just as it used to be. It's analogous and it's very typical for Porsche. Now, with the start of the open-air season just a few days ago at the Geneva International Motor Show, we presented the new 911 convertible. And because of the new hydraulic drive, the roof can open in only 12 seconds. So that's a few seconds more than before. And you can also close it as quickly, even while you're driving at speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour. With the 718 Cayman T and the 718 Boxster T, we also presented new T models in Geneva. Very sporty, puristic vehicles that concentrate on what's essential. But first, let's look back at the previous year, because in 2018 we had quite a series of highly attractive products. The Mission E-Cross Turismo, which we presented a year ago in Geneva, the concept study of a purely electrically driven cross-utility vehicle, which will go into series production as the Taycan Cross Turismo. For motorsports fan, we presented with the 911 GT3 RS another puristic and powerful and very emotional 911. We presented the new Macan in Shanghai, where we sharpened the design by means of measures at the exterior. It now seems to be more sporty, even more modern, but the Porsche DNA remains, and it's very striking. It's more intuitive. There are two new Panamera GTS models. The core is a 4-liter V8 engine with 460 HP, combined with a standard sports exhaust system. Then, street legal and very spectacular, that's the GT2 RS Club Sport with 700 HP performance. It is very convincing, especially when it comes to club sport events and motorsports meets. And this version is limited to 200 vehicles worldwide. Also, the Porsche 935 is based on the GT2 RS. It is an homage to the legendary race car Moby Dick, which was presented at the 6th Rennsport reunion in Laguna Seca in the US, and we will start producing it this year. Now, our 70th anniversary celebration here at the Porsche Museum, where we presented the Speedster concept. It's a concept study which will go into series production in 2019, limited to 1,948 vehicles in remembrance of the birth year of the sports car brand. It's a very sought-after special model. The 911 is a favorite car, and we could see that at the Best Car Award of the German car magazine Auto, Motor and Sport, where the 911 took the winning spot in 2 categories. And this is for us very important, because we're talking about expert people who give this valuation. It had the first place in the category sports car and in the category convertibles. Then in the luxury class, the Panamera got the first place in 2018 and in 2019. Then we had some spectacular victories in 2018 in the field of motorsport, with a first and a third place at the 12-hour sports car championships in Sebring in the USA, and the victory in a very dramatic race at the 24 hours race at Nürburgring, and then the double victory in the GT class at the 24-hour race in Le Mans. This was highly emotional, which you could see at the movie in the beginning. And also entering the Formula E with Neil Yanni, we presented our first driver and started test driving just a few weeks ago. Together with Manthey Racing in 2018, we also set a new record at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. At the beginning of November, the GT2 RS MR achieved a lap time of only 6 minutes and 40 seconds. This means that it is the fastest street-legal vehicle in the so-called Green Hell. In order to give our customers the opportunity to push their cars to the limit, just like in the motorsports, we have already opened 6 experience centers, the last one in April 2018 in Shanghai. And in October, we set the foundation stone for the Porsche Experience Center at the Hockenheimring. But also, away from the racetrack, we had a lot of exciting reasons to celebrate in 2018, and I just want to name a few highlights here. At the end of October, we looked to Atlanta, where Sotheby's, the auctioneers, auctioned our Project Gold. This is a vehicle which was drawn up on the basis of an original body shell of the Type 993. We found this body, and it achieved a total price of $3.4 million, that means 2.7 million euros, and the net proceeds went to the charitable Ferry Porsche Foundation. In June, we celebrated the Sports Car Together Day at the Cannstatter Vasen and even paralyzed the road traffic in Stuttgart with more than 40,000 visitors and more than 3,000 Porsche vehicles of all different generations. The Rennsport reunion in Laguna Seca in September. Here we had 80,000 Porsche fans. We also celebrated the anniversary 30 years of Porsche Financial Services with 169 million euros. Our subsidiary in the financial services sector achieved a new record result in 2018, and we are very proud of that. In September, we also set up a joint venture with Schuler AG, a leading manufacturer of automation and press systems. So in the future, we will manufacture our press parts ourselves, and we are also able to do that for other automotive manufacturers. We also had a lot of trade fairs, for example, the Auto China in Beijing, in China. This is also a very important trade fair when it comes to technology, digitalization, at top speeds. Then the motor show in Paris with the motto 70 years Porsche sports car. And also very important, some of you might remember that, the Wimbledon victory of our brand ambassador Angelique Kerber. And incidentally, her press conference took place exactly here at the Porsche Museum. Then, at the end of the year, we received a visit from the Austrian Federal President Alexander van der Bellen, together with the State President for Baden-Württemberg, Winfried Kretschmann. They are both members of the Green parties, and they are both very interested in the topic of electromobilities, and they got some important inspiration for their political work as well. Then the withdrawal from producing diesel vehicle caused quite a stir in 2018. So this was a decision which we made in order to sharpen our core. As a sports car manufacturer, we concentrate on what we can do best. That's highly emotional petrol engines, powerful plug-in hybrids, and in the near future, purely electric drives. So we sharpen our company in the direction of the mobility of the future. Having said that, the diesel engine remains an important drive technology, especially when it comes to achieving the CO2 goals. For us as sports car manufacturers, where the diesel engine traditionally played a minor role, we have now decided that in the future we want to make do without the diesel engine. But, and this is also very important for us, for all the diesel Porsche vehicles, we take full responsibilities and we will take care of them also in the service area. And if something is not right, we will make it right. Now, when it comes to the diesel crisis, there are still some investigations against some employees of Porsche, and we fully cooperate with the investigating authorities and do our utmost in order to clarify this issue. We have learned valuable lessons from the diesel crisis and set up a 5-point program. First of all, we make sure that there is full transparency and full disclosure when it comes to the authorities, and we assume full responsibility with regard to our customers, and we expect 100% compliance from our employees. We monitor consistently our suppliers, and last but not least, we are investing massively in future technologies in order to build on an environmentally responsible value chain without compromising on quality and performance. Well, apart from the diesel, the early introduction of the new emissions legislation posed some challenges for the automotive industry in Europe. Porsche is fully committed to the new legislation, especially because the measurement values of the VLTP measures are far more realistic than those of the NEDC clause. But the new rules and regulations were introduced 1 year earlier than planned at the 1st of December 2018. The retypification and the switching of the model range to gasoline particulate filters led to massive intervention in existing product cycles with test bench bottlenecks, which meant that some manufacturers had to stagger the introduction of new derivatives and temporarily had to restrict their model range, and that posed quite a challenge for us as well. Let's have a look at the global economy in 2018. The economic dynamics was similar to the previous year in the advanced economies as well as in the emerging countries. The global GDP increased by 3.2%. The demand at the automotive market has fallen for the first time in 2018 after 8 consecutive years of increases. We're talking about a minus of 1.2% to a total of 82.8 million vehicles. But at Porsche, we increased these values despite renouncing the diesel engines and the WLTP transition. In 2018, we delivered more than 256,000 vehicles, more than ever before. This means an increase with regard to the previous record value of 2017, 4%. The biggest increase we could see with the Panamera with a plus of 38% to more than 38,000 deliveries. In Europe, more than 60% of these models are already being ordered as a plug-in hybrid, and that's very important for our electrification strategy. The 911 has had a growth rate, a 2-digit growth rate. Despite the change of the generation, the delivery numbers increased by 10% to more than 35,000 vehicles. The Macan is the most successful model when it comes to volumes with 86,000 vehicles, followed by the Cayenne with 71,000. China is again our biggest individual market. It grew by 12% to more than 80,000 vehicles, followed by the US with 57,000 vehicles and a plus of 3%. Europe is slightly below the previous year. The good delivery figures are the result of a successful product strategy. So also when it comes to revenue and profit, the record values of the previous year were surpassed again. With regard to 2017, the revenue increased by 10% to 25.8 billion euro. The operating profit was increased by 4% to 4.3 billion euros, and this results in an operative return on sales of 16.6%. Here I would like to extend my most heartfelt thanks to all employees. It is mainly thanks to their effort that we were able to close the 2018 financial year figures so successfully. And with this, I would like to hand over to Lutz Meschke, who will give you the detailed facts and figures.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would also like to express a very warm welcome to you to this year's annual press conference on my behalf. Let me pick up where Oliver Blume left off, the key financials for 2018. You just heard that the framework conditions are extremely challenging to us at present. Nevertheless, Porsche can look back on the strongest financial year of its corporate history in 2018 in terms of sales, revenue, and profit. We were able to surpass the record figures posted in the preceding year. In so doing, we continued our value-adding growth for the 8th consecutive year. Revenue improved by 10% over 2017 to 25.8 million euros. The operating result was improved by 4% to 4.3 billion euros. Profit before tax amounted to 4.6 billion euros, and after taxes of a good 1.4 billion euros, our profit after tax was 3.1 billion euros. This exceeds the preceding year's figure by 100 million euros. On top of the record profit, deliveries were outstanding, driven by our model mix and our 911 derivatives and the Panamera. What is decisive to us, as before, is our outstanding earnings power with an operating return on sales of 16.6%. We continue to rank about the most profitable auto manufacturers worldwide. Our ambitious strategic target of 15% was thus surpassed yet again, despite the adverse framework conditions and extreme financial challenges in these times of change. In 2018, once again, we invested heavily in the future, in particular into e-mobility and digitization. We also recorded a rise in terms of capital expenditure on property, plant, and equipment. In our vehicle business, in 2018, we invested approximately 1.9 billion euros. Personnel costs amounted to a total of 3.6 billion euros, corresponding to a rise of 13% year-on-year, largely driven by the increase in headcount. Specifically here, we're talking about more than 2,000 new hires. We constantly review all processes throughout the company for efficiency and economic discipline. So we have control of all our costs. Expenditure on research and development in 2018 amounted to 2.2 billion euros, which was roughly on par with the preceding year, despite substantial investment in forward-looking technologies. Our cost and balance sheet structure is stable. This is reflected in the return on capital employed in the automotive division of approximately 25%. In fiscal 2018, Porsche generated cash flows from operating activities of 3.8 billion euros. The extremely positive cash inflow from operating activities covered all investments. In the automotive division, net liquidity continued to rise. At the balance sheet date, it amounted to 2.3 billion euros, which was 75 million euros higher than in the preceding year. Now, let us take a look at our financial services. They make an important contribution to the success of our company. With a normalized return on equity of a good 29%, in 2018, we were able to post another outstanding result. Ladies and gentlemen, the key figures demonstrate that Porsche in 2018 was extremely successful yet again. But what is the next step? How will we proceed from here on in? And what is in store for us in fiscal 2019, which has already started? The forecasts on the remainder of the year are characterized by substantial uncertainty. In our planning, we do expect sustained growth of the global economy, but there are the first indications of a slowing of the growth momentum, especially in China. As a potential consequence of the trade conflict with the United States, we may see tariffs slapped on our vehicles that we import from Germany to the United States. This could have substantial ramifications for us, and also uncertainty in connection with Brexit faces us with challenges, and we're preparing for all potential scenarios. In the most recent past, we haven't experienced any major economic downswings. Prosperity has grown and employment has risen. I believe that this has a lot to do with free global trade. And let me say one thing very clearly. We don't see any alternative to free world trade. Despite the uncertainties, we expect that we will be able to deliver slightly more vehicles this year than we did in 2018. The basis for this positive assessment is our attractive model range, including the new generation of the 911. We also expect revenue to post a slight increase. In terms of costs, we will continue to be burdened with substantial investments and an associated high level of depreciation and amortization. The transition to the new test cycle WLTP and the gasoline particle filter will also continue to pose a great challenge for Porsche in the financial year that is underway. On top of that, our renouncement of of diesel-powered drives will make itself felt. But our return ambition and our strategic goal of achieving an operating return on sales of 15% is something that we stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, we need this success. The earnings strength gives us the financial backing in order to actively shape the transformation of our company and on our own steam. On top of that, it gives us the strength and backing in order to safeguard our value-adding growth for the future. The associated challenges are substantial. We will have to make substantial investments in the coming years in electromobility and the digital transformation. If we don't do anything, our returns may drop. Currently, the material costs of a hybrid or electric vehicle are much higher than that of an internal combustion engine-driven vehicle. We're talking here about an average of 10,000 euros per vehicle. These additional costs are something that we do not want to and cannot pass on fully to our customers. The fact that in the transitional phase to electromobility, we are going to continue developing two drive variants costs money. On top of that, given the strong growth that we have displayed over the course of the past years, our fixed costs have increased, in part due to the doubling of our headcount. The modernization and expansion of our capacities in development, production, and administration is reflected not only in substantial investments, but also significant depreciation and amortization. Over the long term, what this means is that we have to take resolute countermeasures, and this is exactly what we're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we at Porsche plan and act with farsightedness. This is why in 2018 we developed an earnings program and rolled it out in the autumn. Our goals are ambitious. By 2025, we intend to achieve a cumulative earnings effect of 6 billion euros, and from 2025 onwards, we want to see a sustainable effect of 2 billion euros per year. In so doing, we want to ensure that our strategic return goal of 15% will be achieved in the future as well. Now, how can we achieve this ambitious target? Well, first of all, we're taking a two-pronged approach. It's not just about efficiency measures. It's also in particular about tapping into new sources of earnings. And we are acting from a position of strength here today. Our company has a strong, healthy asset base and is wonderfully positioned in terms of strategy and operations. So we can take well-measured, far-sighted action and safeguard our future in so doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching the era of electromobility and the era of digitization, which is a main pillar of the Porsche strategy. Since 2015, we have taken major steps into the digital future, and we are fully aware that what is of relevance today may be outdated tomorrow. In the digital environment, circumstances change almost on a daily basis. Complexity and speed increase exponentially. In order to transport the special brand experience of Porsche into the digital future, we are developing digital solutions in three fields of action. First, company processes. Second, products and services. And third, customer relationships. Speaking about the digitization of company processes, what we're talking about is far more than just administrative tasks. In production, we are also banking increasingly on digital solutions, and here Factory 4.0 comes to mind, together with augmented reality applications and forward-looking maintenance. In development, digital prototypes and simulations serve the purpose of improving process security and shortening development times. Digitization is also progressing in terms of products, in particular with respect to the connectivity of our vehicles. In the Taycan, we will, for the first time, offer on-demand functions and over-the-air updates. In terms of our services, we distinguish between offers within the car, mobility in the greater sense, and the lifestyle of our customers. The Porsche Road Trip is based on an app. It provides assistance in planning, organizing, and navigating extraordinary outings with tailor-made recommendations in terms of restaurants and hotels. The driver's experience takes center stage, and it is expanded by the digital service. The Porsche 360 Plus service takes everything a step further and helps you to organize your daily life. A personal assistant, for example, can procure presents for you, admission tickets for concerts that have already sold out, or make a booking for a special restaurant for you. With exclusive lifestyle services such as these, we are transporting the experience of the Porsche brand into daily life, in mobility and beyond. And customers don't even need to own a vehicle in order to benefit from this. We are expanding our brand world and opening ourselves up to target groups that were not so close to the sporting scene so far. And this brings me to the third field of action, the customer relationships. We also want to make sure that our values and our brand world can be experienced by them in a digital sense. The Hub and Spokes will be a new integrated online sales platform that connects existing offerings with entirely new ones. The individual Porsche ID is the entry card for customers to their personal Porsche world already today. Our subsidiary Porsche Digital concerns itself with digital products and services right through to a digital lifestyle. And it works hand in hand with our departments in doing so. The colleagues work end to end, from trend scouting to venturing, the search for a suitable partner, to the first prototypes and to the launch of a finished product. Porsche Digital has an international footprint with locations and tech labs in innovative regions and in the most important hotspots of the startup scene. And they are also right at the pulse of our customer in our strongest markets, in Berlin, in Silicon Valley, and in Tel Aviv. And what is especially important to me, in China, because our Chinese customers are much younger, are much more open to experimenting, and they're much more technology friendly than the rest. It is becoming increasingly important to have a good sense for sniffing out good opportunities in our business. China promotes innovation substantially and has surpassed the future technologies and has surpassed Silicon Valley in terms of future technologies. We mustn't forget this, and we are working with the relevant partners in China in order to develop tailor-made offerings for our customers in breakneck speed. The key goal of our digital strategy is to tap into new digital revenue potential with high scalability. In the medium term, we want to be able to venture into double-digit % territory with our digital business in terms of the share of the total revenue that they will account for. In order to build these businesses systematically, we have to invest. In total, we plan with a digital budget of 800 million euros. In the future, it has to be an adequate relation to our budget for research and development, and therefore develop towards 1 billion euros. And I'm aware that our own resources will not be sufficient in order to succeed in the digital transformation quickly enough and successfully enough. In certain areas, we lack the necessary expertise. Let's just think about software engineers and AI experts. On the market, there's simply not enough skilled labor in order to cover demand. Therefore, we are building a strong ecosystem with competent partners. Via equity interests and cooperative ventures, we are recruiting or obtaining external knowledge and integrating it into our company in a strategic manner. This is how we are systematically scouting the worldwide startup scene. In so doing, we will be able to identify technologies and innovative business models early on and make them available to us via investments. in order to gain access or secure access to trends, new technologies, and business ideas, we have increased our budget for venture capital activities by another 150 million euros, and we have expanded our equity interests portfolio significantly in the past couple of months. We have invested in the AI startup Anagogue, in the US startup Miles, that provides a smartphone-based loyalty program for all forms of mobility, in the Swiss company Wayray that develops and produces holographic head-up display technologies, in Gapless that allows you to manage collectors' cars and share them on a blockchain basis, and last but not least, in Urgently, the Uber for roadside assistance in the United States. And that's not all. In addition to taking stakes in various venture capital funds such as Magma and Grove in Israel and eVentures in Germany, we are already in negotiations in the United States for the next investments. Our innovative power is being strengthened in addition to that through partnerships and various innovation formats. For example, APX, our joint accelerator that we run with Axel Springer, and the innovation platform called Startup Autobahn, right here in Stuttgart. Ladies and gentlemen, mobility is changing at breakneck speed. Personal ownership is losing importance, whereas temporary and flexible vehicle usage is becoming increasingly popular. Studies have demonstrated that there is great willingness to pay for subscriptions to cars in the high price segment. We bank on premium mobility solutions and services with which we can offer real added value to our customers. With the Porsche Passport subscription model in the United States, we will soon offer at 5 locations the possibility at a fixed monthly fee to select from 22 models of our product portfolio and to switch among them at any time. In the first year of Porsche Passport, it has been found that this offering allows us to address entirely new target groups. And it's not only that the members of Porsche Passport are an average of 6 years younger than our legacy customers. No, 80% of them have never owned a Porsche before. Together with the Californian startup Turo, in addition to that, we have developed an exclusive peer-to-peer sharing program for private vehicles for Porsche customers. Under the moniker Porsche Host, the service has been offered in San Francisco and LA since September. In Porsche Inflow, since the beginning of this month, we have been offering for our German customers as well a very flexible and comfortable leasing offering for used cars, where all of the costs are covered via the monthly installment. The contract is concluded digitally in just a couple of minutes using an app provided by our partner Cluno. In the first days, customers have demonstrated extremely keen interest in this model as well. Ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence is relevant not only to digital offerings, such as the ones that I just mentioned to you, but above and beyond that, AI is a key issue for us at Porsche as well, which is deeply ingrained in our strategy because it increases productivity across the entire value-added chain. What is important to us here at Porsche is that we don't want to crowd out human work. We use artificial intelligence where it makes sense to relieve our employees of their workloads and routine tasks so that they have more time to think about creative solutions and tackle complex challenges and reach the right decisions in doing so. In so doing, we also have our eyes on the ethical responsibility we have in the development and application of AI. In the field of crash simulation, we already use AI in order to store and manage construction data automatically in databases. And in the field of motorsport, we are already using AI solutions successfully. For example, the track record of the 919 hybrid Evo on the Nürburgring demonstrated this. Using AI, we were able to increase its aerodynamics significantly. We are doing all we can in order to expand our competency in the strategic strategically important field. By the end of 2020, we want to have 100 AI experts. Above and beyond that, Porsche is already part of AI expert circles in politics and industry, as well as research. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see that the digital transformation is multifaceted. Implementing it is very hard work. In order for this to succeed, we need financial strength, innovative prowess, an entirely new way of thinking and acting. But companies like Porsche, of course, don't work in a vacuum. We are embedded in economic and social framework conditions, and these too must be adequate for progress to be made. Digital transformation is a Herculean task which we in Baden-Württemberg are pressing forward within the scope of a strategic dialogue as the automotive industry together with the state administration. It can only be implemented successful if every player pulls together. The topic has to be addressed across all sectors at the federal and European level. Industry and politics have to work closely together in order to expand the digital infrastructure as quickly as possible, and we can't wait until 2025 to do this. We need a powerful digital infrastructure very soon. Without nationwide fiber optic 5G networks, it would be inconceivable to have autonomous driving or full networking. We must be careful to ensure that Germany does not become a laggard as an industrial site. Global competition will definitely not wait for laggards. Therefore, I can only appeal to all those responsible to push forward digitization at all levels and do this with all their might. We, as an economic player, are definitely making our contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, Porsche today rests on a stable foundation. For the coming months and years, we are set up extremely well strategically. And while we act, we learn every day. We are further expanding our future competence extremely systematically, extremely far-sightedly, and with the necessary resolve. And this year, we are entering into a new, promising era for our company. Thank you very much, Lutz Meschke, for the detailed insight. Oliver Blume will now give you some insight into how closely success and responsibility are linked at Porsche.
Diejenigen, die das Glück haben, aus einem Traum ein Geschäft aufzubauen.
Those lucky enough to build a business out of a dream owe it to the world to be the caretakers of dreams. So these were the words of Ferry Porsche. But taking care of dreams, what does that actually mean? Building timeless sports cars, creating values that last, securing jobs, that was important for Ferry Porsche. No question about it. But he did not only think about the coming generations, the customers and the employees. He always thought beyond the company. What do we owe to the world and to the generations that come next? We continue to be shaped by Ferry Porsche's understanding of corporate responsibility. So we take responsibility internally for our employees, for the colleagues, but also externally for the people, for the society and the environment as a holistic approach. This is how we understand corporate responsibility. Success and responsibility are closely interlinked. Only when economic, social and ecological aspects are in harmony, we can be truly successful. Healthy companies need a healthy society, and the other way around. Making money and growing with profits is the basic point so that companies can take on responsibilities. An excellent profitability does not just create values for us and the customers, but also for the employees and the society, because they secure the future for the company. We take responsibility because of our heritage and our conviction. Ferry Porsche already knew that success depends very much on the quality and the commitment of his employees. He was well known for treating his employees like members of the family with an excellent training, well paid, and participating in the success of the company. As of the 31st of December 2018, we had more than 32,000 employees. Since 2011, the headcount has more than doubled, and e-mobility is a job engine. With the new manufacturing for electric vehicles, we will have 1,500 more jobs. Independent of their function, every employee received a special anniversary bonus of 9,656 euros last year, and this is the highest value in the automotive industry. And Porsche provides training. As of the 31st of December 2018, we had more than 903 young trainees, and these trainees are very important for us. Apart from that, we offer a support year for young refugees, and we also carry out training initiatives in developing countries such as in South Africa. The typical corporate culture of Porsche is also very important for us in order to get that into the future. Also, with the background of the strong growth of the last years, we have developed a mission statement which shows what's important for working together at Porsche, what makes us special. Our drive, the lifeblood, our strength, sportiness, and our roots, the pioneering spirit, and at the end of the day, it's about Porsche as one family. And this is what makes us so attractive. In the Universum study with regard to employer attractiveness, where more than 32,000 students participated, we rank among the first place when it comes to engineers and economists. And there's also a high interest of applicants. In 2018, we received more than 160,000 job applications. And for one vacancy, we get on average 80 applications. We also have an extremely low turnover rate of 0.7%, and this shows that Porsche is not a run-of-the-mill employer. And many colleagues remain true even after they've stopped working for Porsche. This gentleman here, Jeff Salad, has been retired for more than 10 years, but he is still always delighted to lead visitors through the Porsche Museum. We are not only committed to those people who work for Porsche or want to work for us, but also for the society as such. So we support the Stuttgarter Ballet, the Leipziger Gewandhaus Orchestra, or young football talents. And we also support many charitable projects, especially at the sites of our company, where we supported around 151 initiatives with more than 7 million euros. In September, for example, more than 3,500 colleagues put on their trainers to raise 195,000 euros for social initiatives in the region at the 6-hour run in Porsche in Zuffenhausen, under the motto 911 meters for good deeds. In 2018, we founded the Ferry Porsche Foundation. The foundation also finances the first professorship in Germany dealing with corporate history. The initiative Ferry Porsche Bildet works in favor of disadvantaged children and young people in Stuttgart and Leipzig. And then we have the Ferry Porsche Challenge, which will start in April, where clubs and initiatives in Stuttgart and Leipzig can ask for subsidies, a total of 1 million euros. The Ferry Porsche Foundation is active in 5 areas: education and science, culture, sports, social affairs, and the environment. Our understanding of ecological corporate responsibility goes beyond supporting external projects, although the share of the worldwide global automotive market is only 0.3%, we are well aware of our responsibility when it comes to environmental and climate protection. Just like pieces of puzzles that work together, many small and big initiatives form an overall concept where step by step we increase our ecological sustainability across the divisions. We reduce the environmental effect of our activities across the whole value chains, and that includes the whole life cycle from procurement to recycling. But the last one is not that important because 70% of all Porsches that have ever been built are still roadworthy, and that speaks for itself, for our sustainability. Now, we know that traffic increases in the metropolitan areas, and this is why emissions in logistics have to be reduced. We have a green logistics strategy where we use gas-driven electric and hybrid trucks, and then rail transport of produced vehicles from the German Porsche sites has been done since January 2018 with 100% renewable energies. The energy consumption per produced vehicle has been reduced by around 30% since 2014, and the CO2 emissions by 76%. And we also produce with trackable green energy with proof of origin of the energy. Then let's talk about recycling. First of all, we would like to avoid waste. But if it occurs, we try to recycle it as much as possible, if possible within our own vehicles, but at least for the manufacturing of other products. And this will also be true for the battery of the Taycan and the plug-in hybrids. Together with waste disposal companies and research institutes, we are working on recycling possibilities in order to be able to reuse the largest part of the different batteries. Our target is to be a zero-impact factory, a production without negative effects on the environment. We will produce the Taycan carbon neutral, and our priorities are first of all to avoid emissions by manufacturing electric vehicles and using renewable energies, reducing emissions by means of environmentally friendly drives, energy efficient buildings or general resource efficiency, and to compensate emissions that cannot be avoided. Our activities also has an environmental impact in areas that we can only control indirectly at the supplier side, in the logistics, and the use by the customer. Here we also assume responsibility. We have high requirements when it comes to environmental, social and compliance standards of our 4,200 suppliers. They all need to undergo a sustainability rating. The Paris climate goals need to be fulfilled. The traffic has to reduce the greenhouse gases to more or less zero up to 2050. Digital networking of vehicles is important in order to avoid traffic jams or traffic caused by drivers looking for parking spaces, as well as using new mobility concepts. But the most important thing is to further optimize conventional technologies, and that's the most important thing, to ramp up alternative drives. Electric vehicles are superior to combustion engines only if the energy is produced without burning coal, and the proportion derived from coal is still too high in Germany. So politicians and the energy sector have to tap into regenerative energy sources. So we need to look at the overall life cycle, and at Porsche we think that we're on the right track. So we started at an early stage with the hybridization of our fleet. We were the first sports car manufacturer in the premium area to offer plug-in hybrids in 3 different model ranges. For the Panamera, for example, for the first time as the top model of a series. And we have been very successful here. We will invest 6 billion euros up to 2022 in e-mobility. Here we doubled the volume of this package. Partnerships will become more and more important. This is why we acquired a participation in Rimac. This is a Croatian company that develops and produces components for electromobility, for electric supersports cars, the battery technology, high voltage area, electric drive, as well as the development of digital interfaces between humans and machine. And the target is to have a development partnership here. For us as a sports car manufacturer, e-mobility is highly attractive. When we look at well-to-wheel, taking into account the primary energy requirements per kilometer driven, the electric drive is superior to all other drive systems, 3 times as efficient as hydrogen and 6 times more efficient than synthetic fuels. And with the further development of battery technology, this advantage will even be larger in the future. Now, we think that solid-state batteries are the most promising approach for the electromobility of the coming generations, with a higher power density, more security, a better chargeability, less space and less weight. And we will continue to develop this technology. Together with QuantumScape in California, we have the target to produce large series of solid-state batteries from the second half of the next decade. Charging is very important, and we think that there are 3 essential pillars. First of all, we need to have a comprehensive charging network along the big traffic axis. With Ionity, we set up the most powerful charging network in Europe. Electrify America is for the US, as well as in China. The other point is charging in the city. Now, electric sports car drivers don't have to do without things. When it comes to performance, driving dynamics and connectivity, we pose the same requirements to these drives when it comes to combustion engines.
It's like the wind, some say. Or gravity. You can't see it, but you know it's there. You can't find its button on the dash, or its chapter in the owner's manual. We have no drawings of it. We don't know how much it weighs. Can't time it on the track. Ask 10 of our engineers about it and get 10 different answers. But there's no debate about its existence. After just 1 day behind the wheel, it's the most valuable part of the car. The irreplaceable component. The thing you love more and more with every passing mile. The thing you instantly miss in any other car. The soul. For reasons mysterious and many, every Porsche ever built has one. And always will. The new Porsche Taycan. Soul electrified.
Ja, ein kleiner Vorgeschmack. Der Taycan wird das
This is
sportlichste.
just a little bit of a preview. The Taycan will be the most sporty and most technically advanced vehicle in its segment, with an acceleration from 0 to 100 of significantly less than 3.5 seconds, a top speed of more than 250 kilometers per hour, a range of more than 500 kilometers according to NEDC, and a charging time for 100 kilometers of only 4 minutes.
Am Elektrosportwagen
20,000 people have already said that they were very interested in this electric sports car. The Cross Turismo will come as of 2020 with the same performance data as the Taycan, with off-road characteristics and different loading possibilities. A modern concept for the city as well as intercity
zusätzlichen
traffic and additional lifestyle offers. And the next Macan generation will also be an electric car manufactured in Leipzig. The foundation stone took place on Tuesday. Our guests from China had the possibility to participate in it. Porsche invests more than 600 million euros in the modernization and expansion of the Leipzig site. This expansion in Leipzig creates the possibility to manufacture fully electric vehicles within the existing assembly line. The Macan will be based on the so-called PPE architecture of the Volkswagen Group. The demand of purely electric vehicles is different in the different regions in the world, and in order to satisfy that, we have worked out detailed forecasts. For 2020, you see many red spots where electromobility does not yet have a relevant market share. Let's have a look into the year 2025, where you see more and more yellow spots and even some green spots. And then for 2030, so within 10 years, large parts of the world will be driven by a high demand in electric vehicles. What does that mean for Porsche? In 2025, every second Porsche will have an electric car, either as a plug-in hybrid or as a fully electric car. And in order to fulfill the different wishes of the different customers, we have 4 dimensions: the future, plug-in hybrids and purely electric vehicles, then image products, very sporty vehicles with a race car DNA, then the strong basis where we have sensible derivatives like the Panamera Sport Turismo, and then last but not least, the lifestyle line, modern vehicles combined with elements, very successful elements from previous generations. When it comes to the drive strategy, we are looking into a mix of emotional petrol engines, highly performant hybrid drives, as well as purely electric drives. In order to further reduce CO2 emissions, we are looking into synthetic fuels, because synthetic fuels that were produced with renewable energies do not produce any CO2 emissions. So we think that there's a high potential to make our combustion engines and the existing fleet even more environmentally friendly. The strategy 2025 is our compass, with the vision to make Porsche the most successful brand for exclusive and sporty mobility. The strategy gives the direction, but is also flexible in order to consider a change in the framework conditions as well as to use new opportunities. In order to set down the strategy 2025 in the company, we have taken that down into the different regions, the subsidiaries and the people within the company, with clearly defined responsibilities and clear partial goals in order to implement the strategy. As Lutz Meschke already said, that for 2018 we have set up a profitability program which complements the strategy 2025 with its 8 fields of action, and it is fully integrated. Ladies and gentlemen, electromobility, connectivity, artificial intelligence, new mobility concepts. The challenges of the transformation are big and different, but Porsche is well geared to these challenges, which is shown by the key figures for 2018. We are highly profitable, and with the results program, we also secure our profit margin for the future. 2019 is the year of the Taycan, and that's the beginning of a new era for Porsche. Our drive strategy makes it possible for us to be also flexible in the future with optimized petrol engines, performance-oriented plug-in hybrids, and purely electric drives. More than ever, the power of our products is important. Modern drive concepts, sporty driving dynamics, and digital innovations. And we always bear in mind our targets: secure jobs, delighted customer, and a good rate of return. Because profitability and sustainability don't contradict themselves. No, quite on the contrary. Economic as well as ecological and social interests need to be in harmony at Porsche. Success and responsibility, one thing is not possible without the other. And it doesn't matter whether we are talking about the racetrack, in the sports car segment, or also about new business segments. We always remain true to what our founder, Ferry Porsche, said: when Porsche enters a race, we are in it to win.
We are the garage where it all started. We are the bold dream of a courageous man who followed his heart and nobody else. We are the racetrack where our fighter's heart beats the loudest. We are tears of joy and of sorrow. We're 100 horsepower and 1,000 horsepower. We are fast sports cars, loud sports cars, colorful, surprising, futuristic. Sports cars that have enjoyed unbelievable success. We are a true community of fans, a big family. We are you and I, and we are millions of Porsche drivers who bring our dream to the road each and every day. We are the first sports car in the SUV segment. We boost the everyday. We are wow. We are typically German, a little locally minded and parochial, and terribly industrious. We are totally crazy, but we are also characters, collectors, and asphalt cowboys. We are the 911. We are the engine in the rear and the ignition lock on the left. We are the whispering echo of your childhood, your lost sweetheart. We are the heart of the sports car. We are what nobody needs, but everyone wants. We are digital, electric, connected. We have a mission, E. And charge e-mobility with emotions. We are future ready. We are 70 years old, but certainly not grown up. We are dreamers, and we remain dreamers. Because if you follow your heart, it will always race faster. Even in the next 70 years.